Since Louth's last championship victory in this fixture 53 years ago, Dublin have won 16 matches on the bounce between the sides. It's Louth straight into the attack with Craig Lennon looking for an early score. Lennon out to Grimes. And that one has been struck over the bar by Conor Grimes. Just over 10 seconds on the clock, and Conor Grimes has given Louth the lead. Evan Comerford drives it long. Seemed to be a foul on Peadar. Cofaigh Byrne in midfield, quickly taken by Kieran Kilkenny. And Howard has possession as Dublin look to reply through Paddy Small. Had a very good game against Wicklow and he started well here. Sides level, barely a minute played. This is the makings of a cracker. Niall McDonnell, and very good kick out, but Dublin have won the breaking ball. Niall Scully. Kieran Kilkenny. Dublin happy to have him back on the half-forward line, but he gives that one away cheaply, and it's been won back by Conor McCall, and Dara McDonnell now in possession for the wee county. James Maguire, neat pass inside. Here's Emmet Carolan. Didn't fancy having a shot. Gives it to Sam Mulroy, who will if he gets half a sniff. But Mulroy's effort well blocked down. And this one has been won back by Dublin. And Charlie McMorrow gets this one out to Kieran Kilkenny. He's seen a lot of possession in the early part of the match, as has Niall Scully. Charlie McMorrow out to Niall Scully. Seán Bugler takes a little breather. Both sides will be happy with that. Here's Seán MacMahon. Louth with 12 players back from the 45-yard line in, as Dublin will probe looking for an opening, and no better man than Kieran Kilkenny. Cormac Costello to Seán Bugler. And Scully from one side of the pitch to the other in O'Moore Park. Dublin playing into the breeze in the opening half. Paddy Small got 1-6 against Wicklow across to Seán Bugler. Under pressure here from Matthews. Gets it to Cormac Costello. They may have worked a shot for Scully. Gets it inside. And referee telling Small to get up. Louth have won it back. Now can they hit Dublin on the counter? Here's McDonnell and Grimes. Back to McKenny. Craig Lennon. Decent ball inside to the full forward line where Conor McCall is waiting. Takes on Clancy. Here's McCall. That's a bit of a wayward effort though, and Comerford happy to let that one tail left and wide. First wide of the match. Comerford kept it short, and Dublin have done well to win possession. Seán MacMahon from Raheny, taking on Louth captain Sam Mulroy. That's a good battle. And Dublin managed to keep it through Niall Scully. Bugler changing the angle of attack to Eoin Kennedy, who made his championship debut in Auckland 2 weeks ago. Bugler and Scully. Now it's set up in front of them. Paddy Small being forced back, but retaining possession, and he picks out Kieran Kilkenny. Will he try and inject a bit of pace into the attack? Gives it to Cormac Costello, the old heads combining. Gives it to Doran, one of the new boys. Scully. Outside of the boot. That's a decent pass inside as well to Killian McGuinness, his first possession of the match. McGuinness again drives it across the 14-yard line, but it's been broken up by Emmet Carolan. But Louth mark has been given inside. It was a long enough advantage, but the mark was taken by Killian McGuinness. And let's see what the Skerries Harps man can do. Takes a short one. And McGuinness available to get it back, but that's Small looking for his second score. But he sends it wide, and that's Dublin's first wide of the match, as their stand-in manager, Dean Rock, looks on. Niall McDonnell was in goal on that famous day in Croke Park last summer when Louth won the Leinster title. They've managed to keep that one into Mulroy, Conor early, and James Maguire. Killian McGuinness making sure not to step and commit a breach inside the Dublin half. Here's Ciarán Downey back to Sam Mulroy. Paul Matthews playing his 50th match for Louth this evening. Waiting for the run of Darren McDonnell. McDonnell, an ambitious two-point attempt. And with the aid of the breeze, that one has gone left and wide, and that's Louth's second wide of this opening half. Evan Comerford ran out quickly, looking to take a quick kick out. Louth pushing up, and Comerford threads that one through the eye of a needle superbly to pick out Niall Scully. Seán MacMahon, Scully to Ciarán Kilkenny. Scully looking inside, spreads it out, and that's neatly taken inside by Costello. Scully back to Costello, not sure if he was expecting it. Costello with a great pass inside. A chance here for Nathan Doran. And he curls this one beautifully over the bar. And Nathan Doran from Clontarf gets his first ever score in the championship. Well created by Costello. Nice finish by Nathan Doran. That has been overhit by Niall McDonnell. And it's a line ball to Dublin. There's Conor Callahan and Lee Gannon amongst the injured Dublin players. Brian Howard. Dublin have definitely settled the better. 8.5 minutes played. Ciarán Kilkenny. Just outside the two-point arc. Insightful hand pass inside, and this one worked out to Niall Scully, looking for Dublin's third point of the match. And Scully makes no mistake. That was a really well-worked score by Dublin. Finished off by Niall Scully, who managed to score a point against Wicklow, and he's got his first of the day here against Louth. The low kick out by McDonnell finds its mark. And Louth have possession, but looking for a little bit of movement here was Lennon, and he picks out Donald McKenny. Craig Lennon, an All-Star nominee last year. Bursting forward into the Dublin half. Low pass inside is a decent one to pick out Ciarán Downey. Downey taking on Nathan Doran. Good run by Downey. Back to Conor McCall. And he finds Conor Grimes, who has Louth's solitary point so far. Paul Matthews across in a bit of space, but Louth retain possession. Working it out nicely. But again, Ciarán Downey couldn't get a shot away. And he fist this back to Dara McDonnell. Mulroy. Under pressure from Peadar Cofaigh Byrne. That's good play by the cooler man, and he's won it back for Dublin. Really strong, forceful play by Cofaigh Byrne, and he gets Eoin Kennedy motoring as Dublin look to find gaps in the Louth defence. Good ball inside, and Costello as well picks out Davy Byrne. Back to Costello. This will be a lovely point. Cormac Costello, but that one just tails to the right and goes wide. It was well worked between David Byrne and Cormac Costello, but there was no end product. McDonnell's kick towards the stand side evades everybody, but it's been picked up by Conor early, but he's brought that one out over the sideline. And Dublin wanted to take a quick one, but Louth have a player down looking for some attention. As Gavin Devlin looks on. Conor McCall came down heavily, but seems to be okay. Quickly taken to Seán MacMahon. Seán Bugler has Kieran Kilkenny available. Kilkenny. Doran. And Bugler. And this pattern of play is familiar so far. Dublin changing it, keeping possession, using the full width of O'Moore Park. Scully now with the outside of the boot. Good pass to Kieran Kilkenny. Kilkenny gets this one inside. Doran back to Kilkenny. Shooting chance. Bottled up, but does superbly to pick out Costello, but he threw the ball. And that's no score. Craig Lennon. Louth could really do with the score. That ball, though, wasn't the best, and Dublin have won back possession, and Niall Scully breaks clear. Ball has picked out Eoin Kennedy. Scully again orchestrating everything for the Dubs so far. Back to Nathan Doran. Just waiting for some support. Picks out Seán Bugler and the always available Niall Scully. And a pocket of space has been found, and it's Dublin's 4th point. And Charlie McMorrow, who scored a goal against Wicklow, now has his first championship point. Too easy for Dublin. Good score, McMorrow. And they've lost possession again. Here's Paddy Small. Paddy Small had a goal on, and he sent it wide. Would you believe it? Well, he had support. It all came from a poor kick out by Niall McDonnell. Paddy Small came through. McGuinness was outside him, decided to go for a goal, and the ball went wide. Short kick out is accurate this time from McDonnell. McDonnell switches play to Conor Grimes. It's been over 14 minutes since he scored Louth's only point of the match. Ryan Byrne's yet to get into the game, and 5 Dublin players surround him as soon as he has possession. Finally, Louth have got their second score of the game, and who else but Sam Mulroy? And who else but Sam Mulroy has got Louth's second point, and a vital one. Louth pushing up on Evan Comerford's kick out. And he decides to go long. And well, Kieran Kilkenny did superbly to gather possession. He has an advantage, but managed to pick out Theo Clancy. Here's Niall Scully looking for the inside men. Costello, though, not able to win that race won by Donal McKenny. Under pressure, Dublin have won it back. Here's Paddy Small. Goes to ground. Back to Scully. They've worked this one nicely. Here's Seán Bugler trying to create a shooting angle. Oh, that's brilliantly, but dispossessed. Well, Louth thought they had, but the foul was committed. And Dermot Campbell not happy with the decision, but it's a chance for Dublin to score their 5th point. Yeah, there was an arm around the shoulder there by Emmet Carolan on Seán Bugler. And it's Cormac Costello aiming to get his first score of the 2026 Leinster Championship. And Costello makes no mistake. And Dublin lead by 3 points. Again, the short kick out by McDonnell manages to pick out Donal McKenny this time. Tig McDonnell, decent pass to Craig Lennon. McDonnell showing for the return. This is better. Out towards Grimes. Thought about the 2-point attempt, but then decided he'd keep possession. Here's Craig Lennon. Back to Grimes, but again, Dublin's defending is tenacious. They're winning all the 50-50s. Here's Costello. Back to Seán Bugler and Scully. Ciarán Kilkenny. Inside to Costello. Shooting chance for Costello. And that's really clever. Good combination between Ciarán Kilkenny and Cormac Costello. And that's his 2nd point of the match, his first in play. Niall McDonnell having to go long. May work out for Louth, and it does. Well gathered, but again, Dublin's defending tenacious, but Seán MacMahon fouling Dara McDonnell that time. Conor Grimes as Louth look to get something moving. Might get the ball back, but again, just the pass a tiny bit off. Won back by Eoin Kennedy, and Dublin able to come clear with the ball, and Ciarán Kilkenny picks out Niall Scully. They're both having a huge influence on this match with 18.5 minutes played. Scully to McMorrow. And Brian Howard to O'Cuffey Byrne. Bugler. And again, it's walking pace, Dublin. Just happy to keep possession. And put the onus on Louth to put them under pressure. Bugler made his championship debut 7 years ago against Tyrone. Scully and Bugler again. Louth just can't get any primary possession at the minute. Scully. Now there's a bit of a press. And Dublin find a gap. Howard. Kilkenny switching the play out to Nathan Doran. Back to Kieran Kilkenny. A prolonged period of possession for Dublin. Niall Scully again using this tactic, switching the play over to the stand side, and Dublin creating some nice shooting angles. And there's another. But that effort from Small has gone right and wide, so Dublin thought they had their 7th point, but instead they have their 4th wide. McDonnell driving it downfield. Dublin win possession again through Eoin Kennedy, who has started very well for Dublin. Kieran Kilkenny. And Scully again in possession. Brian Howard. And Seán Bugler. Causing all sorts of problems to Louth. Kieran Kilkenny. Again, the outlet inside is Cormac Costello. That one a bit loose from Kilkenny, but Bugler does superbly to win it back. Now, there's a chance here for Brian Howard, and he drives that one with the outside of the boot over the bar. Brian Howard with his first score. And Dublin have opened up a 5-point advantage. And they're finding the gaps in the Louth defence. And Howard did really well to fire over a good score. Here come Louth. They really need a score. Tadhg McDonnell off balance though. And that one has gone fairly wayward. Right and wide. Louth's 3rd wide this opening half. Good kick out to Brian Howard and lots of space for Scully, driving it inside to the full forward line. Costello wasn't able to win possession, though. It's been picked up by Niall McDonnell, in danger of losing it under pressure from Paddy Small, but foul has been committed. And Louth get on with it. Donald McKenny. Craig Lennon. Louth really need a spark of inspiration from somewhere. 12.5 minutes to the break, and they've only registered 2 points. Paul Matthews to Ciarán Downey. Dublin fairly comfortable in defence at the moment. McDonnell back to Craig Lennon. Still Lennon. Dara McDonnell gets the shot away. And Dara McDonnell has got a score. Really good point by the centre-back. Scored 3 points against Wexford and gets a vital score for Louth hero Portlaoise. And it's 7 points to 3. Really good score just inside the 2-point arc, but a good point for McDonnell. Dublin doing really well on their own kickouts. That one very close to the sideline. Just kicked forward by Scully, but Louth have won it back through Conor early. Fist this one forward. Ryan Byrne's under pressure. Gets this one away to Tadhg McDonnell. Had an impact off the bench against Wexford. Here's James Maguire. And there seems to be a breach. Lots of noise from the stands, and Brendan Griffin, the referee, has his arm raised. So, a 2-point attempt. And that one from Burns has gone all the way. Well, what a strike from Ryan Burns. A 2-pointer. And now there's only 2 points between them. And that's much better from Louth. way outside the 45-metre line. That's a superb point. 2 points even. That's a superb 2-pointer. Maguire across to Grimes. Mulroy, as Louth are enjoying a period of possession with James Maguire. 10 minutes of the break. Dublin leading by 7 points to 5. Tyke McDonnell is awaiting possession and he has it. Here's McDonnell. 2-point attempt from McDonnell, but that's his second effort that has gone right and wide of this opening half. Comerford's kick looking again for Kilkenny, but this one broken down well by Dara McDonnell. And here come Louth once more through Sam Mulroy. Lovely pass by the Louth captain to Kieran Downey. 2-point attempt from Downey, but again overly ambitious, and that's Louth's 5th wide of this opening half, and they need to be more accurate with the breeze. And Gavin Devlin will be a little bit happier that Louth have come more into it in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Comerford's kick broken down, and the breaking ball won by Campbell. And here's Lennon. Really good run by Craig Lennon. Shooting chance for Lennon, but again, he was off balance under pressure from David Byrne. And that's another wide for Louth. But it's going to be a 45. Seemed to touch a Dublin hand on its way out. So all may not be lost for Louth. Davy Byrne made his championship debut in 2015. An important cog in the Dublin defence. Sam Mulroy has 1 point to his name in this opening half. Every score is vital as Louth are trailing by 2. Mulroy from the 45-metre line has struck this one nicely, and the white flag is raised, and there's only a point between them. 7 minutes to half time. Evan Comerford taking his time with the kickouts as Dean Rock shows a bit of encouragement to the Dublin players. Comerford. Again, it's a 50-50 ball. Dublin have won the break through Seán MacMahon. Charlie McMorrow. Oh, Cofaigh Byrne has the ball now. Picks out Bugler as Paddy Small comes out to pick out Niall Scully. Across to Nathan Doran. Kieran Kilkenny available if he needs him. And here is the Castleknock man. Just over 6 minutes to half time. Dublin a point to the good. Happy enough playing into the breeze with the way things have gone in the opening half. Cormac Costello. Again, Dublin will have half an eye on the clock, knowing that if Louth don't have possession, they can't score. Well, it's keep ball from Dublin at the moment. When will Louth come out and press the men in possession and A bit of jeering from the crowd, not too happy with the fare on offer, but Dublin have a Leinster semi-final to win. Peadar Cofaigh Byrne inside on the edge of the 13-metre line for Dublin if they decide to go long, but they're just happy to keep possession way out the field. Scully. His possession stats will be interesting at half-time. Here's Cormac Costello. As Dublin have had possession now for about 2 minutes or so. Kieran Kilkenny. Won't do anything silly in possession. Finds Seán Bugler and Nathan Doran. It's a case of stalemate on the field of play at the moment. Bugler to Kilkenny. Costello in support. Costello's pass is a loose one. Bugler in possession and Louth have won it back. Now, here comes the red wave. Conor Grimes under pressure though. It's good defending by Dublin. Hunting in packs as McKenny has it, and he's gone out over the sideline. Still on the ground, quickly taken by McGuinness, but referee wants to halt play as there's some attention in for McKenny. Dean Rock thinking that Dublin should have been allowed to get on with it quickly. There's the little shove on Donald McKenny earlier, and then Killian McGuinness was involved in a challenge with Sam Mulroy, and eventually it's a yellow card to Paddy Small. And Sam Mulroy is still down receiving attention, and he seemed to be shoved into the fence. As referee Brendan Griffin just explaining things to Dean Rock. Sam Mulroy back on his feet. Takes the line ball. Under 4 minutes of normal time remaining in this opening half of the Leinster semi-final. Louth in possession, but they trail by a solitary point. Here's Lennon. Back to James Maguire. Lennon again. Will go for the return and gets it from Mulroy. Lots of energy and pace from Craig Lennon. In danger of losing it though. And they'll do well to win it back here as that's tenacious defending again from David Byrne. And it's eventually been won by Conor Grimes. Thought about going for a two-pointer but decided possession is more important than an overly ambitious shot. Here's McDonnell across to Dara McDonnell. Tyke McDonnell. Can Louth find an equaliser or a two-pointer? This is good by Ryan Burns. That one dropped short, punch clear by Evan Comerford. And the breaking ball has been picked up by Kieran Kilkenny, back helping out his defence. And Doran now has it for Dublin. And they survive that Louth attack. Nathan Doran trying to find a gap, gets his pass away. And Charlie McMorrow spreads the play nicely to Kieran Kilkenny. And Dublin have worked that one neatly out to Theo Clancy. Brian Howard. Good ball to Costello. Back to Howard. And McGuinness. Scully to Bugler. A minute and a half or so left for Dublin to create a score before half-time. Here's Kieran Kilkenny. Dublin will have an eye on the clock. They'll know exactly what they need to do to get somebody into a scoring position before the hooter. Standing pace from Scully. Now eventually a bit of pace from Small. Back to Bugler. And they've worked this one out. Shooting chance for McMorrow. And that one has also gone over. Patient build-up by Dublin. And Charlie McMorrow gets his second point of this first half. And Dublin lead by 2 just before half-time. Can Louth win possession? No, it's Dublin. And it's Seán MacMahon. Can they finish with the score? That ball driven forward towards Costello. Under pressure. Keeps it in well. Still Costello. And then he has overcarried the ball. And Louth. Well, eventually, the referee has called for half-time. And Dublin will be the happier, playing into the breeze in the first half. They go in with a 2-point advantage. Half-time in the Leinster semi-final, it's Dublin 8 points, Louth 6 points. 35 minutes of football stand between Dublin and Louth for a place in the 2026 Leinster football final. Dublin have an advantage. Here's Niall Scully going for a two-pointer, but advantage was being played. He knew it was a shot to nothing. And a little bit of wrestling between Scully and James Maguire. Free taken by Dublin. Seán Bugler. Louth have brought Kieran McArdle in place of Conor McCall. And that one by Kennedy will stay in. Punch clear. This will be picked up by Conor Grimes. Again, the harrying by Dublin is really good. Pressure on Dermot Campbell, trying to get away with it, in danger of over-carrying. And here's Mulroy. And got this one back, and seemed to be a high challenge from Scully on Carolan. But look at the defending from Dublin. That's absolutely superb. And they've won it back. And that's what you call defending from the front. Superb by Dublin. McGuinness gets this one back. It's hot and heavy inside. It's been picked up by Small. He goes to ground. Referee has an arm raised. It's an advantage to Dublin. And they have won a deserved free. And that all stemmed from tenacious tackling by their forward unit. And they have a free in. Conor Grimes will become the first Louth player to see a yellow card. And there was the late challenge from Grimes. Paddy Small with the free, and that one has gone over. Superb point by Paddy Small. He gets the opening point of the second half, and Dublin lead by 3. Kick out has been won superbly by Charlie McMorrow. Bursting forward. Still McMorrow. Gives it inside to McGuinness. And McGuinness hits the crossbar. Ball comes back to Kennedy. And he fists this one wide. Well, Owen Kennedy, with the goal at his mercy, fisted the ball wide, but Louth survive. Well struck by McGuinness. Crashed off the crossbar. And Kennedy was unable to find the target, and Louth survive, but just. Louth had a poor conversion rate in the first half. They had 13 attempts and only converted 5 for 6 points. Dublin had 11 attempts. They converted 8. Louth must do better. Here's Conor Grimes. Gets this one forward to Craig Lennon. Tig McDonnell. Darren McDonnell scored a good point in the opening half of the Leinster champions as Tig McDonnell has possession again. And Dublin happy just to concede possession and see what Louth can do. Ciarán Downey. Lennon. The Dublin defenders will know he has pace. And here is the pace from Craig Lennon. Really good run. Still Lennon. And it comes back off the upright. Unlucky. And the ball was won in the air by Seán MacMahon as Brian Howard comes away with it. Picked up by David Byrne. And a really good pass forward from Byrne to pick out Scully. Nathan Doran in support. Trying to get away from Ciarán Downey. Finds Kieran Kilkenny. Scully. Spreading the ball to Paddy Small, who was the game's only scorer of the second half. And now it's Seán Bugler. Scully. Costello. He'll take on a two-pointer if the opportunity arises. That's loose, though, picked up by Ryan Burns. Now, what can Louth do on the counter? The right man has it, Mulroy. Back to Ryan Burns. Still Burns. They're looking to work a goal. Can they finish it? Lennon. Burns off the post. Lennon. And it's gone. Out for a 45. Well, drama. Craig Lennon not able to find the target. Ryan Burns hit the post, and it all came from a loose pass by Cormac Costello. Ryan Burns broke forward. Mulroy was involved. And the ball eventually found its way to Ryan Burns off the post, and Lennon couldn't finish. As Tommy Doran had a problem with a calf before the match. It's strapped up and he's in. Conor Grimes, the player to make way. Sam Mulroy scored a 45 in the first half. This to leave it at a 2-point game. And Mulroy's effort is superb. Really good strike by Sam Mulroy. And Dublin lead by 9 points to 7. That's Mulroy's third point of the match. Comerford going long. Breaking ball again has been won by Dublin, and Bugler into Cofaigh Byrne. Here's Costello, and off his right hand side. That's a very good score by Cormac Costello. His third of the match. And Dublin have replied promptly to that score by Sam Mulroy with a neat finish by Cormac Costello. Ty McDonnell. James Maguire. Gets away from Cofaigh Byrne. Maguire needs support. Mulroy outside him. Decent ball inside. Paul Matthews trying to work a shooting angle for Ryan Burns. Jinking one way, then the other. Eventually it's Matthews, but that one is going to tail left and wide. 6 wides now for Louth. They were guilty of some poor choices of shooting in the first half. Dublin again win their own kick out. Charlie McMorrow picking up the dirty ball. Finds Scully. Spreads it across to Kilkenny. Kieran Kilkenny loses possession, and it's been picked up by Dermot Campbell. Donald McKenny gets this out towards the centre of the field, where Tommy Doran, with that leg heavily strapped, finds Emmet Carolan. Positive start to the second half from Louth, and Carolan has fired over a really good score. And now there's 2 points between them again. It opened up for Emmet Carolan, decided to take on the shot, and it was the right decision. Much more open second half. Theo Clancy out to Eoin Kennedy. Clancy goes forward looking for the return. Inside to Ciarán Kilkenny. Brian Howard. Kilkenny and Howard, two men who have seen lots of success in a Dublin jersey over the years. As Seán Bugler now has possession. Dublin leading by 2 points. 9 minutes played in the second half in O'Moore Park, Portlaoise. Paddy Small. Scully. Costello. And Bugler once more. This patient build-up by Dublin. And the pocket of space inside, and a foul has been committed on Niall Scully by Donald McKenny. And it was a high challenge on Niall Scully. And, well, a card will be coming out for Donald McKenny for Mardee. And pleading his case, what will the decision be from Brendan Griffin? Has a little smile, so I think that might be a yellow, and it is. And from that angle, it does look like a yellow was merited and nothing more. Niall Scully back on his feet again. And Dublin, through Cormac Costello, have a chance to regain their 3-point advantage. Costello aiming for his 4th point of the match, and he makes no mistake. And Dublin lead by 3 once more. Niall McDonnell looking for an option, not too many, and he's going to be in danger of conceding possession here unless he gets on with us. A terrible kick. Paddy Small has possession. Should be a score for Dublin. Here's Paddy Small. Will he just tap it over? Yes, he will. And that all came as a result of a poor kick out from Niall McDonnell. He had a bit of indecision before he struck the ball, and it was poorly struck. Paddy Small picked it up and had lots of time and did the right thing in tapping it over. Dublin trying to get inside the head of Niall McDonnell. That ball goes to ground, and the dirty ball was won by Seán MacMahon. And well, here he is again to pick it up in the second time. Doran gets this one across, and that's brave by Campbell, who was fully committed. He goes to ground, and the referee calling for attention. A couple of players down. And that was no holding back there between Charlie McMorrow and Dermot Campbell. And Gavin Devlin and his management team of Peter Dooley and Ronan O'Neill trying to see what can they do. They're 4 points behind. Attention in for Dermot Campbell. Not named to start, but Dara Nally injured himself in the warm-up. And the Dreadnoughts man was in from the start, even though he was named in the initial team yesterday. Here it is again. Fully committed on both sides, purely accidental. So it's an indirect free kick to Dublin. We taken by Niall Scully. Chips this one inside. Paddy Small. 2-point attempt from Paddy Small. He is calling for a 2, but in fact, it's a 1. The replay will be interesting. Referee Brendan Griffin had a good view of it and decided it was a 1-pointer. Here it is. Paddy Small had possession. Just very close to the arc, but a one-pointer has been given. Well, Dublin in the ascendancy, winning all the 50-50s. Look at that from Dara McDonnell. That's brilliant. But Seán MacMahon battling hard for Dublin, as is the evergreen Kieran Kilkenny. David Byrne. All the leaders really standing up for Dublin. Seán Bugler. Back to David Byrne. And Dublin now take the sting out of any Louth pressure as Kieran Kilkenny has possession. It's the biggest margin between the sides since the game started. Dublin leading by 5 points. Seán Bugler. It's good movement again from Paddy Small. And Niall Scully again central to everything positive coming from Dublin. Kieran Kilkenny. Back to Scully. Bit of keep ball between those two. Scully again the outlet. Seán Bugler. Across to Scully. And Small. 13 minutes played in the second half. Theo Clancy. Seán Bugler again in possession as Dublin probe, looking for a shooting chance for Cormac Costello. He's given this everything from outside the two-point arc. What a score from Cormac Costello. He now has 6 points to his name. And all of a sudden, Dublin have opened up a 7-point advantage. That's superb from Cormac Costello. James Maguire has made way. And it's Conor McKeever who is into the action. Named to start, but he's in to see what he can do for the Louth cause. They're in trouble here. They need the likes of Sam Mulroy to get more into the match. Here's the new man, McKeever, to Craig Lennon. Downey, back to Ryan Burns. And Burns' effort has gone to the right and wide. Poor effort in the end by Ryan Burns. And Comerford, good kick to pick out Eoin Kennedy. Gets his hand pass away, has an advantage. Niall Scully to Charlie McMorrow. Dublin playing with confidence. Scully, really good ball inside by Niall Scully to Costello. Back to Charlie McMorrow. Scully having a field day out there in possession. Great ball to Kieran Kilkenny. 20 minutes to go in O'Moore Park. And come on, you boys in blue, ringing out in Portlaoise. Paddy Small. Louth seem bereft of ideas at the moment. Scully again with plenty of time. Bugler brought to ground by Sam Mulroy, and he'll happily take the free. Takes it quickly. Ball won eventually by Seán MacMahon. Kilkenny and Scully again. Clancy. Niall Scully. Again, the probing pass inside is a decent one to Brian Howard. Nice turn by Killian McGuinness. Now Scully with a little bit of space in front of him. Has support outside from Kieran Kilkenny. This is positive from Dublin. Can there be an end product? Kennedy gets it out. Dublin happy to keep possession. Costello. Back to Kennedy. Kilkenny calling for it, but it's a pick out small. And that one comes back off the upright. Dublin unlucky, that effort from Small, picked up by Tommy Durnan. Needs support though, can't pass it back to his goalkeeper, and Dublin will win a free in here, and that's brilliant by the Dublin forwards. Tommy Durnan over carries, and this will be an easy point for Cormac Costello. It's the kind of play coaches love. Durnan had it. In went Cofaigh Byrne, in went McMorrow, in went Costello. And Durnan over carries. And look at what it means to the Dublin players. Should be an easy score for Costello, and it is. It's his 7th point and his 3rd free. He scored 6 points when the sides met in the 2024 Leinster final, and he has surpassed that in this match. Louth only trailed by 2 points 13 minutes ago. Now they trail by 8. Double scores in Portlaoise. Nathan Doran. Back to Seán Bugler. Theo Clancy and Kieran Kilkenny. Brian Howard has Seán Bugler outside him, but retains possession as Ciarán Downey comes towards him, but Howard gets that one forward, but it'll be cut out by the Louth defence and Conor early. They really could do with the score, Paul Matthews, but dispossessed by Niall Scully, and then he was dragged down by McKenny. He's on a yellow card. He has to be careful. Eventually it's McGuinness. Can Dublin get a goal? Costello! He gets a point. There was a goal on, and Costello unhappy with himself, but he has managed to get his 8th point of the game, and Dublin have opened up a 9-point advantage. Here was Niall Scully winning possession back again, and forward to Costello, had lots of support, went for goal, but the ball went over the bar. As Charlie McMorrow makes way for Tom Lahith. Driven long by McDonnell. And won back by Conor McKeever. Tommy Durnan. Pressure on Louth to get a couple of scores and get them quickly. Lennon. Out to Paul Matthews, going for a 2-pointer. That one in towards the edge of the square, and it's just been fisted wide. Well, Evan Comerford came for it. The ball dropped short, and it was Kieran McArdle who was in there, the substitute, who fisted the ball wide. Well, Tadhg McDonnell makes way, and it's Leonard Gray who has been introduced. "15 minutes to go. Dublin lead by 9. Tommy Durnan drops the kick out, but He was fouled as he came to ground. And Conor early told he has to give the ball back to Tommy Durnan. Ciarán Downey. They've created a couple of goal-scoring chances. They could do with even a point or two at this stage as Downey. Nice turn on his left foot. But the effort goes right and wide. And they can't say they haven't had chances, but it's another poor effort. This time from Ciarán Downey. Seemed to be a foul, and it is. Kieran Kilkenny. Dublin really missed his energy and guile against Wicklow. He's to the fore again here today as Theo Clancy has possession. Niall Scully showing lots of leadership in the number 11 jersey. And he'll say that was a brilliant pass to Nathan Doran. Doran's effort blocked though by Ciarán Downey. Here's Craig Lennon. Louth have only managed 2 points in the second half, and their last came 13 minutes ago. Durnan. Back to Craig Lennon. 2-point attempt coming from Leonard Gray. Drop short in towards the edge of the square, but Dublin picking up the breaking ball and coming clear with it. Seán MacMahon. Great run by Seán MacMahon. Oh, Cofaigh Byrne there, but stolen by Dara McDonnell. But again, MacMahon was in there. Dublin have it back. Now then, as a goal chance. And Costello taps it over. There was a goal chance, but Costello decided, do you know what? A point is as good as anything at this stage. That's his 9th. And Dublin lead by 10. Really opening up. Good play by Seán Bugler. Finished by Cormac Costello. Ciarán Downey picks out Mulroy. He's been well marshalled by the Dublin defence this evening. They have worked this one to Lennon. Trying to get a goal chance. Burns bottled up again by the Dublin defence. And that's been the story of the night as MacMahon came away with it. And Niall Scully showing all his guile as he's grappling there with Conor McKeever. Not happy with the way McKeever took him on there, and it will be a line ball to Louth at the end of it all. Just over 11 minutes remaining. And who would have predicted Dublin would be 10 points to the good? In many people's eyes, Louth were favourites coming into this game. Campbell has Gray inside, but the pass is a loose one, picked up again by Seán MacMahon. He's been everywhere in the second half. And here's Tom Lahiff, the substitute. Across from Bugler to Kilkenny, and Dublin enjoying themselves here as Owen Kennedy gets this one forward to Paddy Small. Off his right-hand side, he was off balance, but ball still in play. Costello has it. Great take by Costello, but he sends this one right and wide. Dublin's 6 wide of the match. Well, the interim manager, Dean Rock, will be very happy with the way Dublin have performed, especially in this second half. Louth haven't scored for 16 minutes. Here's Darren McDonnell with a 2-point attempt. And McDonnell sends this one to the right and wide. And that's 10 wides now for the wee county. Really good take by Dara McDonnell. And gets a very good pass forward to Ryan Burns. Burns taking on Clancy. Still Burns. Fist this one across to Mulroy. Inside the square. Back and a chance. But the effort by Downey has gone harmlessly wide. Louth's 11th. And they look like a beaten side at this stage as Luke Breathnach from Ballantyre St. John's recovered from injury, and the Dublin fans happy to see him back. And he replaces Paddy Small, who will be happy with his 4-point haul. Comerford's kick-out is a loose one, and it's been picked up by Conor McKeever. Back to Craig Lennon. 9 minutes ago, the clock against Louth. Lennon bottled up again by the Dublin defenders, and it's been picked up by Nathan Doran. Mulroy in to challenge, but David Byrne is back there. And people might think that's just a hack clear anywhere. No, it's not. It was a great pass to pick out Niall Scully. And Dublin have a chance to make hay here with Luke Breathnach taking on Paul Matthews. Luke Breathnach coming through under pressure, holds on to it. Back to Costello, making the shooting angle for himself, but Costello's effort has gone wide. Dublin will win the kick-out again through Kieran Kilkenny. And even when he gives a loose pass, Dublin win it back. Tom Lahith, 8 minutes to go. Dublin have more than a foot in the Leinster final. Very comfortable at this stage. Seán MacMahon to Kieran Kilkenny. David Byrne and Niall Scully. The likes of Scully and Byrne and Kilkenny and Howard have really shown good leadership for Dublin this evening. And Louth have had no answers. Seán MacMahon back to Seán Bugler. Still Bugler. Scully again. And Costello just slowing things down, knowing that possession is king. Here's Killian McGuinness. Luke Breathnach. Under pressure, does well. Good turn by Breathnach. He's created a shooting chance for himself. Here's Luke Breathnach, but off balance. And he sends that one to the right and wide. And lots of learnings for Gavin Devlin's men. Came in as favourites, but they've been second best here in Portlaoise. And they just can't win any of their own kickouts. Kilkenny fist this one forward again to Scully. And Cormac Costello looking to fill his boots once more. Costello off balance and gets another score. And that's 10 points for Cormac Costello. Superb display from the Whitehall Cullum Kills man. He has scored the last 5 points of the match as well, in a really good performance. Matthews, again, Dublin hunting in packs despite their 11-point advantage. Conor McKeever to Tommy Durnan. Kieran Downey, again, not too many options inside. 5 minutes of play remaining. Paul Matthews gives the ball to Dara McDonnell, and McDonnell gets his 2nd point of the match, but it's Louth's first point in 22 minutes of the 2nd half, and they trail by 10. Breaking ball won by McKeever. And now it's Dermot Campbell. As Louth look to finish on a positive note, the game is beyond them. Again, really good defending back there from Seán MacMahon. And Tom Lahiff has possession, but seemed to throw it. And it's going to be a free kick to Louth. Ball out to Conor McKeever. Cross to Paul Matthews. Tommy Durnan. Sam Mulroy just inside the 2-point arc. And that one has been fisted out over the end line by Nathan Doran. So it's going to be a 45 to Louth as we enter the dying embers of this Leinster semi-final. Short 45 by Mulroy to Durnan. Again, they know they have to work a goal or a few goals. This one has gone in from Downey. Well gathered by Evan Comerford to David Byrne. And again, his distribution from defence has been exemplary. That one a little overhit though to Niall Scully. Dara McDonnell. Final 3 minutes of play in Portlaoise. McDonnell has tried his best for Louth. It's Tommy Durnan who drives this one in towards the edge of the square. Gathered superbly by Evan Comerford. And he brings this ball out over the end line, and it's going to be a 45 for Louth. Cormac Costello scored 10 points. A superb performance. Sam Mulroy. Across to Kieran McArdle. Lennon has to pass it back to Ryan Burns. And a 2-point attempt from Ryan Burns goes harmlessly right and wide. And that's 12 wides for Louth. 7 in the 2nd half. And it's been a poor day for Gavin Devlin's men. Oh, Cofaigh Byrne breaks the ball down, but it has been won by Ryan Burns. Dermot Campbell. Matthews tried to get a shot away, and maybe it will work out. Tommy Dernan. Again, a lack of options for Tommy Dernan. Pace, though, shown by Lennon across to Ryan Burns just outside the 2-point arc. Sam Mulroy. A lot more expected of those two. And here's Kieran McArdle. Knows they need a goal, and McArdle has driven this ball over the bar. And that's only Louth's 4th point of this second half in what has been a disappointing evening for the wee county. And what a 70 minutes Kieran Kilkenny has put in as well in the Dublin jersey. Superb fetch by Peadar Cofaigh Byrne as Seán Bugler comes forward. Good ball. Luke Breathnach, a chance for Breathnach, and he fists that over. Really good score by the Ballantyre St. John's man. And that's the icing on the cake. And there goes the hooter. Dublin finished with a flourish. Really good performance by Dublin. And they march forward into another Leinster final. Louth were disappointing, and they'll enter the draw for the All-Ireland series. It's finished in O'Moore Park, Portlaoise. Dublin, 20 points. Louth, 10 points. Bit disappointing in the match, but anyway, sure.